Sir, can you hear me?
Ma'am, you are audible but not fully, ma'am. Can you please check it?
No?
Valli, ma'am, you're not clear, ma'am.
So, audio, am I clear now?
Bit, bit loud, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, I think now it is fine, ma'am. Now it is fine.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, we will start in okay, we are already running out of time. We will start, ma'am, right now.
Sure.
So good morning, all of you, and we welcome you all for this session on social engineering tactics and security measures. So this session we are organizing as part of the Cyber Jagrookta Diwas. And we were organizing a series of these kind of webinars from last 4 months to create awareness among all the employees of all the employees of all the institutions under MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. So basically this is an initiative by the Cyber Jagrookta Diwas is by the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, and they have requested all the ministries and departments to organize these kind of awareness workshops to all the ministries and departments first Wednesday of every month. So as part of that, our ministry, like Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, is organizing this session under the Information Security Education Awareness project. So as we all know, the basic objective of this Cyber Jagrookta Diwas is to create awareness among all the employees, like who are all using these ICT gadgets. Like it could be anything like your mobile phone, laptop, desktop, and all such kind of things. And like what are the some preventive measures someone should take care while accessing these things. And at the same time, has to follow cyber hygiene practices to safeguard by themselves and safeguard institutional organizations, ministry, department, assets, and data and all. So that this is a very important session. So we were organizing these kind of webinars on every first Wednesday of every month, and we are also organizing quizzes, and we are also offering some of the e-learning courses where you can continue your learnings as continue your learning in the cyber security domain. And you also can check where we are, like we are also offering quizzes as part of these things. So like where you can check your knowledge up to what extent you are there, kind of thing, right? So all these programs we are doing, and by end of the session I will be briefing more about that. So before we move on to the session, let me give you a glimpses of like what is ISEA, Information Security Education Awareness. I think most of the people are aware, but let me go through all those things one more time before we move on to the actual session. So as we all know, Information Security Education Awareness is a project by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. So the main objective of this program is the generation of core resource manpower to address the human resources needs in the domain of information security in our country. Of that, like we were offering these formal and non-formal courses at BTech, MTech, PhD level, and we are also upgrading the skills of the faculties so that they will be able to deliver effectively and efficiently in their teaching in the teaching processes. And we are also offering these short-term specialized courses for the professionals, those who are all at ministry and department level. And we are also training the government personnel, the people who are already in service. As part of their duty, they may be having a lot of issues. Like we are also trying to build their capacities, offering these information security courses, so that they will be able to deliver their services effectively. And we are also doing this awareness program at national wide, to create cyber awareness among the masses, among all categories of citizens. How do we implementing these? So these are the 52 institutions are implementing this information security education awareness project across across India. So 52 institutions like ISEA Bangalore, IIT Mumbai, Madras, and Guwahati, and other IITs and NITs and state technical universities, all our CDAC and NILET centers are also part of this program. So all these 52 institutions put together implementing this information security education awareness at various level, and all these CDAC, NILET, ERNET and NIC, CERTIN and STQC, all these reputed institutions under the MeitY, like Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, are training the various government officials at various levels. And we're also all these 52 institutions are implementing these awareness across all the states, nearby states. If they are not if you don't have any institution in the particular states, so nearby states are also our institutions are going there and implementing and creating these awareness programs. So this is how, like, I'm just talking about awareness part only. Remaining two things, whenever we'll get time, we will discuss on that part. So awareness, like we were doing mainly in two ways. So one is the direct and indirect. So in the direct, like, organizing the awareness workshop like this, like what today we are organizing, these kind of awareness workshops we are doing for various stakeholders or various group of users. And we are also having a wonderful web portal called infosecawareness.in. So there you have multilingual content. We have wonderful videos, and we have quizzes, and we're also having awareness handbooks, posters, stickers, and all such kind of things. And we are also releasing advisories. Whenever something will come to know, immediately we are releasing the advisories. So all this information is available under the infosecawareness.in, and we are also releasing the newsletters so that you will enhance your knowledge on various aspects. So this is the web portal which I'm talking about. So these are the various stakeholders, and the information is also available in various Indian languages. So whenever you get a time, so I request all of you visit this website and try to enhance your knowledge. And you can go to downloads, and you can download a lot of material from there, and you also can participate in the quizzes, and you can check how far we are there, kind of thing. So with this brief introduction, we will move on to the actual session. So today, for today's session, as you all know, social engineering tactics and security measures. So these are the kind of things which are happening, as we all know, in the last in the current parliament session. So it was told that from January to this June, more than 6.74 crimes were, cyber crimes were reported. So on and average per day, like minimum of 3,700 cyber crimes are getting reported. It is only reporting we were talking about. So FIRs we were talking about. There are so many cases where people are registering, but most of the cases are not converted into the FIR because of various reasons. So keeping all those things, so our Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is continuously organizing these kind of awareness, workshops, trainings, and all these things in the area of information security under the HRD division. Okay, so today's topic, as we all know, we are today's topic is on social networking tactics and security measures. To deal with this session, we have with us Dr. Valli Kumari Vatsavima, and she holds a PhD degree in computer science and system engineering with a specialization in network security, and she received a gold medal for her best research. And she researches on data analytics and data security, privacy, and threat intelligence. She is currently working as a professor at Andhra University with over 28 years of experience in teaching and research. And she is a principal co-investigator of the Cybersecurity and Data Analytics Center sponsored by the ISEA project, MeitY Government of India. As a former vice chairperson of AP State Council for Higher Education, her commendable achievements for automation of all state CET examination and development of software to start a new degree colleges, new courses, and a collection of asset data of colleges in the state, and data analytics and decision making. She was a vice chair of IEEE Vizag Bay subsection, and founder HOD of the CSC Department of AU College of Engineering for Women, and a member of several committees of AP and Odisha governments. And she published more than 150 plus papers in reputed journals and conferences, and she has guided several PhD students. And thank you, ma'am, for your presence. And may I request you to kindly deliver the talk on social engineering tactics and security measures. So over to you, ma'am. And the
Yes,
control is also given it to you.
thank you. I'm sharing my screen. Hope you can see the screen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If you can make it big, I think that will be better. Full screen, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for joining with us.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone. And I'm happy to be part of this program on cybersecurity awareness. So let us go ahead with the topic of security measures. Social engineering is the term used for a broad range of malicious activities accomplished through human interactions. It uses psychological manipulation to trick users into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information. It's normally an organized process, and it is becoming very important for every organization to handle these attacks through social engineering. So social engineering attacks mean both cyber oriented attacks as well as physical in-person attacks. Let us quickly go through a few real-time scenarios like what you see here. So this is Kaspersky. Most of you must be using in your systems for antivirus, anti-malware related tracking issues and monitoring issues. So there's the real-time threat map. At this point of time, this moment, you can see the attacks emerging out or uh, getting incident onto a particular location. So take, for instance, any country, and on the left side popped up box, as you can see, the number of vulnerabilities, intrusions, and all the stuff at this point of time in a particular zone. Like this, you have many threat maps being displayed by many companies. For instance, take this Fortinet. You can see the origin of attacks and destination of the attacks. And quickly, as you go through the box at the below, you can see the severity of the attacks. The red ones are highlighted. You have low severity attacks and medium severity attacks and the locations. Now, when you keenly have a look at this box, you can see most of them are either buffer overflow attacks or certain kinds of, remote access attacks and so on. So what are all these? At this point of time, these are the attack packets that have been identified by the respective systems which were installed by this vendor at their client locations across the globe. I have just shown you two dashboards. You know, many more exist. People use AVG, people use Bitdefender, people use Cisco firewalls, people use a lot of other antivirus softwares and hardware devices like firewalls and UTMs and so on. Now, putting all of the threats that were detected by all those vendors, just imagine at this point of time, this moment, how many attacks might be occurring. This shows how careful we need to be to counter these attacks. As per the reports of the CyberEdge, recently released report, 85% of organizations suffered from a successful cyber attack in 2021. This is as per the survey they have carried out in a few countries and a few organizations in those countries. A record 63% of ransomware victims paid ransoms last year, encouraging cybercriminals to increase their attacks. And how is social engineering related to all of this stuff? So it is said that only 3% of malware tries to exploit an exclusively technical flaw. The other 97% attacks, they involve targeting users through social engineering. So normally malware gets into the system to exploit a technical vulnerability. Say, for example, we didn't update our operating system, or we are not using proper genuine softwares, but we are using some kinds of softwares which have some technical flaws which are not up to date. Then it is likely that this malware might exploit that technical vulnerability. But then it is said in these studies that attackers normally go for the low hanging fruit, that is humans. So 98% of the attacks rely on social engineering. So what are these social engineering activities? They can be technology based or people based. As I have just told you, as per that report, technology based attacks are only 3%, but people based are more. So now these social engineering attacks can be carried out through a computer or a mobile, or someone can come in person to your office and sit at the system saying he is from a help desk and can start, installing some softwares or know your passwords and the related things. Similarly, somebody might make a phone call, and that could be a voice-based attack. So if it is a computer-based attack, normally attacks are carried out through emails. So email phishing is one popular activity through which attackers gain information about the devices, the softwares, about the people's personal information, sensitive information. Then we may have baiting, wherein CDs with malicious programs or USBs with malwares, they're injected into the computer, and the program's auto run feature will automatically cause them to execute. There may be phishing activities that are carried out through Wi-Fi. So fake Wi-Fi access points are provided, and users are normally lured to attack to that Wi-Fi access point, which has no password. SMS might be sent, and there might be a link. So SMS might be tempting or compelling, saying it's a KYC verification, click here, or it's an Amazon offer, or you won some lottery. So you're somehow prompted to click on that link. QR codes may take you to wrong websites and links. Then somebody can impersonate the real help desk people, or at the console attacks might be carried out. People may make a phone call. So phishing activity or using phone call is also called as phishing. It's voice-based phishing. And there are numerous frauds and scams that keep happening. So of all of these, email phishing is the most popular and the easiest to do. All phishing activities, normally through email, they're innocent looking emails or pop-ups or advertisements and company communications that tempt you to click so that they can install spyware, viruses, and other malware on your computer or phone And all of these fall under social engineering. These sources look very close to genuine sources with minor differences. Like it might be the mail ID from which you are getting the mail might be very close to your boss's mail ID. So except for a small difference in I or L or O and 0, victims are tricked into sending their personal or sensitive information, and this information is used by attackers for their malicious purposes. And this used to know passwords, account numbers, credit or debit card numbers, pins. Not just these sensitive information, they gather information about your device, the softwares you use, and can also in exploiting the vulnerabilities. Where does all this data go? The data goes to the attacker's database. So attacker extracts information and then uh, compiles all the information and then plans for an attack. So phishing as a service is becoming popular, and it seems like, as per many reports say, phishing economy is getting industrialized. So phishing kits are available. So what is a phishing kit? It has a collection of tools and manuals on how to use those tools for targeting other users or enterprises. How does an email look like? As you can see here, so the from address, you have to be careful and have a look at it. And if the mail is also targeted to several users, if it's a bulk mail, and if there is a hyperlink, go through the hyperlink carefully. Like for instance here, Bank of America, as it looks like, but in reality it is ARNER, not M. R and N put together, when you're quickly going through, it may look like America. So it's not a genuine website. It's a fake website. And similarly, the date, the subject, the text. So the content may also tell you, if you carefully go through, it may sound uncomfortable, something wrong, and never ever click on such links if you happen to get an email like this. So as per the dataprod.net statistics, nearly 1/3 of all data breaches in 2018 involved phishing. And a new phishing site is created on the internet every 20 seconds. And more than 70% of phishing emails are opened by their targets. Means the end users who receive those emails normally casually click on the link, thereby causing some program or app to get downloaded, or they're taken to a fake website where they're asked to provide some important information. 90% of security breaches in companies are a result of phishing attacks. And small and mid-sized businesses lose an average of $1.6 million recovering from a phishing attack. And Apple is the most frequently impersonated brand by cyber criminals. And more than 77% of organizations do not have a cybersecurity incident response plan. So that was about email phishing. And now over to voice-based phishing. This involves a voice message. Somebody makes a phone call and tricks user to leak sensitive information. Like for instance here, I've taken a few clippings from cybersecurity awareness short film. So there might be a group of cyber criminals call to a genuine customer and ask for an OTP, and the gentleman might reply back with the message, whatever he has got, and suddenly might get an SMS saying all the money is withdrawn and the available balance is zero. And then he might panic and call back to the team from where from the number he got the earlier phone call. But then by that time, the SIM card might have got changed. So that is phishing attack. Credential stuffing, web attacks, DDoS attacks, these are becoming common. Credential stuffing is all about collecting login names and passwords or ways to log in or gain access to some data. So these are some of the reports from Akamai where you can see there is sudden surge on the number of attacks at regular intervals. So this pertains to all web-based transactions as well as financial transactions. So what are all these malicious softwares that get downloaded when you click on that email link? What do they do? That software does whatever was told by the attacker, whatever program it was written for, whatever logic was implemented by the developer. What can it do? It can encrypt your data and demand ransom, irritate you with a lot of advertisements, record keystrokes, steal your credentials. How does it come to your computer? As we just discussed, as a downloaded file from a web page, which is not genuine, or as an email attachment, or as a file from USB or other media, or you might be using torrents to download some files, some softwares. Torrent is a good website, but the software that you are downloading might be a cracked version of it, and that may have a lot of doors open for attackers and other programs to come and stay in your PC. There are many names for this malware. So virus, worm, Trojan, ransomware, spyware, adware, botnet, keylogger, to name a few. And every class of this malware has got hundreds and thousands of such viruses, several worms, several Trojans, and so on. There are lots of different types of malwares available, with some more harmful than others. It is said 230,000 new malware samples are produced every day, and each strain has its own individual way of infecting and damaging computers. How do you know there is malware? There is increased CPU usage. Whenever you click on some icon, for that application to load, it takes a lot of time. More time than it used to take earlier. System may sometimes get hanged up and may not respond to any mouse click or command. There might be some strange icons appearing on the desktop. There might be some strange files in the folders. Files may get encrypted, or some files sometimes may get deleted. It all depends on the malware that got installed on your machine. And how do you check it is malware? You got to have antivirus softwares in your system. And whenever a file is getting downloaded or is trying to get executed or is trying to access certain sensitive locations, which is it is not supposed to, then these antivirus softwares will raise alerts and will inform you whether you really want to have this program execute or use that file and so on. And another way is to check with virustotal.com. Let me show you this. So virustotal.com. So I have one ID of one of the malwares. I wanted to show you here. So this is a hash of a malware. And when you type the ID, look, it is a WannaCrypt ransomware. And you can have all the details and all these vendors, Bitdefender, AVG, Avira, ClamAV, Fortinet, K7, Kaspersky, talk about all big vendors. All of them have marked it as a Trojan, and that too a ransomware, and specifically WannaCrypt. So its behavior is all told here. What is the behavior? So it tells you like uh, what are the activities this malware does. So what does it do if it is executed in your machine? So whether Windows registry is modified or what is it that it does? Okay, and you can have all the details. So these are different IDs using different algorithms, MD5, SHA-1, SHA-256. These are different IDs for the same malware. So it's like me having, so it's me, but having a PAN card, having Aadhaar ID, having my driving license number, different IDs using different algorithms. And then what does it actually do? When was it created? And all that stuff is given by virustotal.com. Not just this, if you want to visit a web page and if you're not sure if it is a genuine page or not, you can give the URL here and look, Fortinet says this is a phishing website. So any information that you enter here will go to the attacker. So that's another thing. And when you're downloading some file and before installing, you would like to verify if this piece of software is genuine. You can also upload this to VirusTotal, whatever file you downloaded from any web page, you upload it here, and then it will tell you whether it's malware or not. So these are the different ways of finding out whether a piece of software or a website or a file that you have got is infected with malware. So ransomware is the most happening malware these days. Like Sonic Wall threat researchers observed 623.3 million attacks globally, and this total marked a 105% increase over 2020 and more than triple the number seen in 2019. So this was the statistics I collected from 2021 report. So what does the malware actually do with your system? Hoping all the officers and participants here are well acquainted with the technical domain. So for the next 3-4 slides, I'll talk about how a malware actually disturbs your system. It can modify the file system. It can write device drivers to the disk. It can change the system configuration files. It can add new programs to the file system. It can modify your Windows registries keys so that the program can auto start. You don't have to run it. So whenever you switch on the system, it automatically is up and running. And it can modify the Windows registry to change the system configuration, for instance, to change the firewall settings. And for loading the device drivers, for instance, to record the keystrokes. So whenever you're pressing some key on your keyboard, that will be recorded by the malware. And it can also resolve domain names and can make HTTP requests. So these are some of the behaviors. There are many more. I just wanted to give you a feel of what it does. And you're aware of Windows programs, .dll, exe, and sys programs. And there is something called as PE, portable executable format, which tells the structure of these programs and the way they store data. So PE files, they contain x86 instructions and data such as images and text and metadata that the programs need to run. Like for instance, I'm moving my mouse. You can see the arrow mark here. So that is an image. You can change it to something else. Okay, these are all images or the text that is getting displayed now. Okay, so these programs, they have these files, they have coding and the data. But when you expand this exe file, any program that you run needs to run in binary, right? So you have an exe file and you have some headers and then sections. So there are some headers like DOS, PE header, optional header, and lot of sections like code and data and imports. And there further, further if you drill down into, you'll have all the hexa code and all the stuff. So what is this? How is this PE file helpful? It tells Windows how to load a program into memory and which chunks of file to be loaded into memory. And where in the program code the Windows should start execution. And which DLLs, means libraries, should be loaded into memory in order for the software to run. And also supply media or resources a running program may use in the course of execution. Like my browser program is now using this mouse icon. Okay, so this is a media. And also supplies security data such as digital code signatures. So to state it simply, any PE file has got this format. It has headers and it has program code and it has some imported libraries and then some strings, images, some text to display and the images and some memory mappings. Let us not go into too much of technicality, but I'll show you how the malware actually runs. So malware binaries are often designed to trick users into clicking them by masquerading as Word documents, game installers, PDF files, and so on. You get an email and in the attachment, it will be shown as PDF file or Word document, but in the background, it is an exe file. So when you double click for downloading or running that PDF file, it's not an Adobe file, but it is a malware exe file at the backend. The icon is shown up, but in reality, it is an exe. So sometimes the icons are the attacker or hacker group icons. So every hacker group has got their own kind of a logo. It could be that, or there could be rifles, guns, or some cyberpunk cartoons, etc. Let us consider a malware sample like Mandiant, which is a security company, has identified this sample as having been crafted by a Chinese state-sponsored hacking group. It uses an Adobe Acrobat icon to trick users into thinking it is an Adobe Acrobat document, but actually it is an exe file, not a PDF. Let me show you how this fools the users. So this is an educational demo. So So as you can see here, this is an exe file, a fake PDF malware. So the name is like for identification, it's given as fake PDF malware, but it will be written with a very, tempting name so that people thinking that it is a PDF file, they would try to open it. So now we use some very simple tool like a REST tool or some ICO tool, and then we can directly run it and convert it into an image so that you can have the exe file, which it is normally, is associated with this Adobe. You can see this image. Okay. So this is the actual exe file. So when you click on the link, this exe gets executed. But it looks as though it is an image. Okay. So it is associated with an image, but in the background, it is an exe file. Similarly, you can also have uh, a malware like a bot, an IRC bot that downloads files into the target machine. So you click on a link, some file gets downloaded, and that helps the attacker to download several files onto that target device, your device. So what is this malware? So this is a Trojan, and this is a bot functionality and connects to IRC channels to perform malicious actions such as receiving commands from cybercriminal to perform further actions or sending messages that contain malicious links. And this is the geographical distribution of attacks by this family and countries attacked and all that stuff. So what does it do? So this malware can transfer files to the target device. Okay, and the attackers may also obfuscate, means change or encrypt and compress, so that even if you're trying to trace it, that the traces are not known. Like for instance, so I'll show you. You can see the bot internals. These are all the methods inside and lot of information, as you can see here. So let us go through some interesting portions so that you'll be able to know what it actually is trying to do. You can see it is trying to log the keystrokes. Okay, it has a program to log the keystrokes. It has a program to implement an HTTP server in your system so that the attacker can make requests and it can transfer files or important information from your system. It has functionalities to capture the screen, the webcam or the video capture or the screen capture. Okay, and lot of such things. So you can see here HTTPD, then downloads. So it's trying to download some files. It's trying to check with several passwords, combinations, lot of stuff. Okay, so this is a bot. Now, so the same thing I have pasted here so that you can see it better. So this shows that malware can download files onto our device. And which files? Whatever is specified, whichever files are specified by the attacker, they can get downloaded into your machine. So, and not just that, we have seen HTTPD and all that. So this exe file can also act as a web server that listens on the target machine for connections from the attacker. It tries to implement an HTTP server, and you can see here, my bot, the third line at the right. So the server name is my bot. It's an HTTP server. So commands to take screenshot of victim's desktop and send it to the attacker is possible. So now an analysis like can actually help stop the infected host from communicating with attackers' terminals. So he's trying to make out what are the processes running, then download files, then capture, and then keystroke logging. Similarly, there are many malware variants or different names for the same malware, because every time you run an antivirus software with the same identity, it would get traced back. So they release it with different names, but the core of it would be the same. So how do you relate two or more malwares? So there are tools to check if there is shared code, same code is being used by different malwares, or same images, icons, or any other assets are being used by the malwares. Like for instance, here. So I have a few outputs of certain programs, which I would like to share with you. So you can see here, let me zoom in. So this is a kind of a map, a kind of mining of different malware data sets. When we run some programs on the data set, we can find out which malware is associated with which domain name. So, and which domain names, they're all shared and related to each other. And you can see, so in a network, so there are several malwares which are using this PDF icon, Adobe icon. So as you can see here again, there are different malware samples and they are related. Like this CA327BC83F is similar to this 8172. So they're just mapping of one malware onto another malware. So this is from a malware data set that we generated this graph. So this we actually show it in the hope you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We are able to hear you.
Okay. So this is just for giving you information on how malwares, different malwares are related to each other and the related stuff. Let me just load it again.
In the meantime, sir, ma'am, if you have any questions, kindly keep it in the chat area so that we will try to address those questions by end of the session.
There seems to be some issue. Can you see the screen, sir?
Yes, ma'am, we are able to see. Otherwise, you can just move on to next
Google, you
slide.
can see.
Yeah, we are able to see the screen, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. I thought you cannot see it. Fine.
We will
Fine.
move
I'll.
to next slide. Yeah, you can just post the questions, sir, and ma'am, in the chat area, so that we will take up the all the questions by the end of the session. I think few questions are there. We will take it up. Ma'am, are you ready, ma'am?
Yeah. Just a second.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Are you showing the slides, ma'am? Further slides?
Yes. Yes. Can you see the slides now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So now that you can see, there are different variants for the malwares. So how do these social engineering attacks, uh, how are they planned? So initially people gather a lot of information about our machines, our softwares that we use and the stuff. For that purpose, there are many resources like, for instance, this one, the Grabify link. So you can generate a URL here and send it through SMS or some other stuff. Where from that you can find out from which IP, from which uh, MAC ID, or sometimes which OS you're trying to log in. By sending fake mails also, people can make you click on the, for instance, I have just opened it. Yes. So something like this. This is a fake mail. As you can see, Google has already found it out. And how do you check whether when you suspect a mail? So click on the three dots in the right corner. Click on Show Original. And if this sender policy framework, okay, there is a fail status. That means it's not from a regular mail ID, though this is a genuine mail ID, but somebody else has spoofed from mail ID. So like this, you can check. This is one. And people can do Google dorking. So there are some specialized search mechanisms wherein you can provide some terms into the Google search box so that refined searches and more appropriate information about an individual or a company can be seen. Similar to Google hacking database. So you have lots of information about vulnerabilities in the websites, or you'll have some password dumps, usernames and password combinations, some open cameras, and this stuff is all available in Google hacking database. There is something called a showdown. So any of the systems which are exposed to the internet related to any organization or an individual can be seen here. So attackers have a lot of options and avenues available. So you have something called a snus base, wherein the security breaches are all logged. Like for instance, go to this link. This is the longest standing database breach search engine. So if a website is hacked, and if the usernames, passwords, the profile information, the subscribers data, purchase data, whatever, if the database is breached, then all that information is posted out here. So how does it work? Snusbase indexes information from websites that have been hacked and had their database leaked. Our users have access to search for their emails, names, usernames, IP addresses, phones, password hashes, and much more. Okay, and what else? So they say if it is breached, then it is in a handful few of people. What is wrong in many more people getting access to that data? So if a website to which you have subscribed to is hacked, or the data is breached and it is there out available to the public in other portals, how do you check? Just type your mail ID with which you have subscribed to different websites. Like for example, we keep subscribing to Big Basket or Make My Trip or Amazon, no, all e-commerce portals, small and big. If some of them, if any of them is breached, okay, then you'll get those websites names here. So any of you can try. In my case, so with this mail ID, I have not subscribed to any websites which got breached. So this is haveibeenpawned.com. So there's a typical SMS with a fake link, as you can see here. This is phishing or phishing through SMSs. So when you click on a link like this, you'll be taken to a fake website or some program might get installed in your machine. How are these fake SMSs sent? So you have something like spoofmytextmessage.com. People, attackers can pay for, and then you can type the from to the text message, your KYC has been updated, click on this, all that stuff, and then spoof text. So the message could be sent to anyone. Then when you click on such a link, it may take you to a Facebook page or your company page or a banking page. You should be mindful when you provide sensitive data like your username and password. You can observe the HTTP here. You can observe the link here, URL here. Look for a log symbol and HTTPS. If they're not there, then stay away from such websites because these values will be thrown back to the attacker. Like for instance here, I'm sharing another screen. Hope you can see the screen, sir. So
Yes, ma'am.
when I click on such SMS link, and if I say Cyber Suraksha ABC at gmail.com and password 1234567889. If I'm clicking on some fake links like that, okay, so I'll not be logging in, but I'll be forwarded to HTTPS with a log symbol to that URL. But then in the backend, what happens? Look, the email ID and passwords are collected. It's just an educational demo that we normally teach our students. So, but for awareness, I'm showing you this activity. Okay, so all these emails and passwords, which is called as credential harvesting, is done. Can you see the slides, sir?
No, slides we are not able to see. Maybe another next 2 to 3 minutes if you can conclude. Still, we are able to see the Kali Linux terminal only, ma'am.
So I have shared this a long time ago.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now we are able to see the screen.
So have I been pawn.com and all you could not see?
No, we were able to. No, we were able to see everything, ma'am. Right now we are in Facebook page.
Fine, fine. Okay, sir. Okay, so now I had shown you the Gmail login, but it could be Facebook, it could be SBI, it could be your own office website. What if a program gets installed? So what is the scope uh, of the attack? So look, for instance, there is again an educational demo that we give to our students. So this We have a mobile, we have a server installed in this laptop, and we generated a malicious mobile app and hosted it in this server, which is also the laptop. And that link in that server, we pushed it as an SMS to the mobile phone. And when somebody clicks on that link in the SMS, then automatically that application, that malicious app which is there in the server to which the link was provided in the SMS is when the user clicks on it, the mobile app gets downloaded, it gets installed, and then it makes a connection with the server, which is also an attacker server, and then helps in dumping the SMSs, dumping the call logs, as you can see here, setting the ringer mode to vibration mode, or sending an SMS on behalf of somebody to someone. So without the owner's knowledge, this can be done. The geolocation can be tracked, and all these dumps will be carried back to the attacker's servers. As you can see here, this can be opened, or some programs can be used to parse them and search for some important keywords in those SMSs and the related stuff. What is the impact of such malware? What if these programs get installed in your machines? So like for instance here, Sony Pictures hack. Way back in 2014, a hacker group which identified itself by the name Guardians of Peace leaked a release of confidential data from the film studio, Sony Pictures. And the data included personal information about Sony Pictures employees and their families, even employees, information about executive salaries at the company, copies of the then unreleased Sony films, plans for future Sony films, scripts for certain films, and loads of other information. The perpetrators then employed a variant of Shamoon Viper malware to erase Sony's computer infrastructure. Why was all this done? Because they were opposing the idea of Interview, a movie, which is a comedy about a plot to assassinate their leader. So the US movie theaters opted not to screen, and Sony released it in a digital form. LinkedIn hack, then lot of user data was stolen by the cyber criminals as per Wikipedia. And later on, 4 years after the data breach happened, a lot of user data was put on sale in the darknet. Netflix, again, the subscribers, around 110 million of them, got an email with a link. So when they clicked on the link, there was some information related to credit card that was being asked by Netflix to continue the subscription. And just imagine, even if 1% of these 110 million people provided with the credit card sensitive data, so what is the impact? WannaCry, which I had shown you in Virus Total, so it has impacted several countries immediately after it showed itself up. It was a ransomware. There are many more malwares that were repeated now and then in India and abroad. Like for instance, the most interesting one last year, Colonial Pipeline, an American oil pipeline system that originates in Houston, Texas, and carries gasoline and jet fuel mainly to the southeastern United States, suffered a ransomware cyber attack that impacted computerized equipment managing the pipeline. In response, Colonial Pipeline Company halted all of the pipeline's operations to contain the attack. And with the assistance of the FBI, Colonial Pipeline paid the requested ransom, which is 75 bitcoins or $4.4 million within several hours after the attack. Even stock exchanges are not spared. Many government officials keep getting these spam mails with links. Then how to stay away from these, and what if there is an incident? So there are many tools for providing anonymity and security, like the Proton Mail or the Epic browser or the DuckDuckGo search engine or the Signal messaging app or temporary emails which are valid for only short time to subscribe to any website for download of software and that stuff. And other important websites are like when you see some video is going viral and it should be stopped immediately. So you can visit Stop NCII, Stop Non-Consensual Intimate Image Abuse, and then file your case here so that the company will be asked to remove that video, the Facebook or WhatsApp or whichever social media portal. If a Facebook account is compromised, you can click on this facebook.com/hack to report a compromised account. And if there is some cyber crime, so Government of India has a website called cybercrime.gov.in where the reports can be, the complaints can be made and tracked. We also have National Consumer Helpline. So if any e-commerce activity is fraudulent or you want to report, you can go to this portal. Especially for women, we have a portal called ncw.nic.in, National Commission for Women, and the incidents can be reported out here. Looks like this is slow, but ncw.nic.in. So what are the best practices? Back up your data all at regular intervals. Secure your backups. Then use security software, install antivirus softwares, and also keep all your softwares up to date. Practice safe surfing. Don't just click on any link that you receive. And whenever you're providing information to any website, be cautious. Only use secure networks. Whenever you find a free Wi-Fi, do not log into your important accounts. Stay informed about latest malwares. Like for instance, No More Ransom .org is a website that tells you about the latest developments in the ransomwares. Then always a security awareness program like the one that is happening now has to be implemented in every organization, and not just your colleagues and you, but even your family, parents and children have to be aware of the issues with unsafe browsing. And whenever you're using financial related transactions on the internet, always be careful about suspicious looking pop-ups that appear when you're browsing the session. They may indicate malware infestation. And look for HTTPS token and lock symbol in the URL. And never share your PIN or password or credit debit card numbers to avoid data leak. And similarly, printed copies of passbooks, checkbooks, bank statements, KYC should not be shared with any strangers. Even if you're supposed to, you may write for what purpose the document is being shared. And then put an initial on it along with the date. And as Jagdish Garu was saying at the beginning of the session, InfoSecAwareness.in portal has got loads of information for all people of all walks of life, children, students, women, family, police, teachers, government employees, system and network admins. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for wonderful and excellent session. I think all the participants might have been understood like what was the effect and how do we secure by themselves in the digital space. Ma'am, there are few questions. We will take up few questions and we will conclude the session. So, sir, ma'am, like we are sorry for the delay and we will take another 2 to 3 minutes to answer your questions and
Sure, sir.
later we will conclude. Ma'am, actually, yeah. There is a question of which tool used to dissect the PE file.
What is that, sir?
PE
Which
PE
tool
file.
is?
Which software? Which tool is used?
Yeah, like hex dump and all those. There are a lot of tools.
Okay.
Dump and all can be used, or we normally use some Python code. We write programs to extract those files.
Okay.
So
They were asking,
programs that I
can you
have
suggest?
used, they're all Python programs.
Okay, ma'am. So they are asking, can you suggest both open source and commercial tool if there are?
You mean to say for extraction?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, you can find a lot of them. Like for example, many GitHub accounts they provide with PE editors and a lot of such stuff. So normally in labs and all, we make use of hex editors or PE sniffers and
Okay, ma'am. Right, ma'am. I think one more question. VirusTotal.com can be used for checking all kind of ransomware or attack details.
ransomware. Yeah. VirusTotal.com is able to detect many malwares because it is an aggregation of several vendors' outputs.
Okay, ma'am. And next question, ma'am. A Windows 11 is a genuine operating system, does not require any third-party antivirus. Uh, yeah,
Defender
besides
and
my,
all. Yes, sir.
they were asking like besides Windows Defender, is there any antivirus is required, ma'am?
You keep the Windows operating system up to date. I think Defender will do.
Okay, ma'am. Rajesh sir, I think like we can discuss further, like CMAT Rajasthan. So we're already running out of time. Like we will answer your question later part. You can always keep in touch with us. And what to do if a ransomware attack happen? Is there any tool for getting rid of? Please. They were asking, ma'am, is there any tool
No more,
to get rid of
no more
ransomware?
ransom. I have shown you no more ransom dot or just
Rajesh sir, maybe we will take it up, offline. Your question. Ma'am, does VPN help in preventing cyber attack?
yes, definitely. Because it will be totally private channel. Yes, for ransomware attacks, this is the link, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Many tools they tell you like what are the latest ransomwares and lot of information is available in this.
Yeah, next question is, ma'am, what can we do if we are pwned, like have a been pwned? You shown, ma'am, like if the email is pwned, like what should be done?
So then the first thing is if you're not using the website, it is better to delete your account. But if you want to continue using that website for any service, then it's better to change the password. The second one. The third one is like if you're using the same password with many more websites, then it is like an immediately required thing to change all the passwords, because your username password combination is there available in public.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And Amit sir, I have kept the mail ISEA @cdac.in. You can send us a mail. We can discuss further, sir. I just sent Amit sir. Please share the PPT. Yeah. That's it, ma'am. I think all the queries were answered. Thank you, ma'am, for your time as well as enlightening us on this very important topic. And as we all know, the cyber crimes are also going up every day. So these preventive and security measures are very essential. Someone should follow while we are in a digital space. So once again, thank you, ma'am, for your time as well as wonderful session on this social engineering attacks and security measures. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. And officers like from various departments, various institutions under MeitY and other under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Thank you for joining with us, and the session is helpful to all of you. And if you have any queries, you can always keep in touch with us at ISEA@cdac.in so that we will respond to you. So once again, we thank all the participants who have joined for this session, and especially we thank HRD division, Vyas sir and Surendra sir for giving us an opportunity to interact with all of us, all the officers and the MeitY. Once again, thank you to HRD division and all the participants. So we are concluding here, and if you have anything, you can just let us know at ISEA@cdac.in. We will get back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vyas sir. Chandan
Thank
ji.
you. Thank you, ma'am.